Welcome back, guys. Episode 2 of the Fashionably Late Pod. I'm super excited to get into another amazing episode. As you know, this show is about fashionably late, whether it's being fashionably late, what that means to you, but perhaps more so, the divine timing of life, putting you exactly where you're meant to be at that perfect time. Main character energy always. Let's welcome today's little main character, my dear friend, Kristen Sanchez, NBC6 host, girl about town in so many ways, mother, wife. There's nothing that this woman doesn't do. And look at her.
Wow.
Kristen, hey, girl.
What an introduction. Like, I need to take you everywhere with me.
I'm available. The rate is da-da-da-da-da.
I love it. But thank you for having me. Seriously.
My pleasure. When I think about wanting to start this show, I had my top girls. So I really have so much admiration for you, number one, before we go out, because you do have this way of balancing everything and making it look seamless.
Oh, thank you.
So I want to pull the curtain back today and really get in.
I don't know how much I'm going to reveal.
We're going to get it out of her. So I want to talk about first, I think people see you on camera and you're bright, the bubbly. Where did this Kristen come from? What's your establishing story? Take us back a little bit, and how did you find yourself in this moment?
I think that's a great question, a loaded question.
100%.
Yeah, super loaded. And I have to begin, I wasn't always this way. Actually, as a child, I was very shy, like would hide behind my mom, like behind her dresses, in between her legs, and like would turn bright red if anyone even spoke to me. Like I was the girl in class praying that the teacher would not call on me because I did not want to speak out loud. So who I am today and
what that was.
Yeah, it's been a whole 180.
Do you remember that moment that shifted for you?
No, because I don't think there was a moment. I feel like it was like climbing up a ladder. Like, you know, every year I got more confident in myself, and I didn't care as much as what people thought of me because I believed in me. And
hear that, preach that. That's really an important aspect, I think, in this field that we're in when you're a storyteller. But I think in life, looking at you, you would never know that you were the girl that used to hide the dress. I used to be in the dress, number one. Okay? Like I was the dude in the dress and the heels, number one. But there is that similarity, because I look at you and I was like, there is a resonating theme here, because I used to not be this person. And I forced myself out of that comfort zone by necessity almost, because I was bullied back in high school and it wasn't something that I was prepared for. And I was like, well, what do I want to be? So it's yours, there was this natural evolution, and mine was like this driving force to be what I knew I could protect myself with. So both have their balances in life, but I think the running theme of divine timing, like it happens when it happens and how it happens for a reason.
Yeah, but there is those moments that just push you and accelerate you forward and really fuel your fire to be successful.
Which she is.
And I feel like I'm always learning. I don't feel like I'm at the tippy top. I always want to keep on climbing. And I don't want to ever come off as like a know-it-all, because I don't know it all. And I want to like absorb things from you and from them. And I hope that helps shape me every day.
I think it really, the essence you give off when you're on set, you're a powerhouse. You deliver, you know what you're doing. It's like, hey, how are you? Like, love you, gotta work. And it's like, shapeshifter, you're here, you're there. But you do dabble in so many things. You know how to produce, you know how to, people pitch you. So you're like the constant, there's so many hats that you wear. But I want to talk about the most important hats is family.
Yes.
And I think, look at that face.
All my babies.
Let me talk about your babies and your beautiful, beautiful husband who just adores you. I'll never forget the way he was looking at you at the party for her Miami Vibes cover. I want to talk about that because I feel like that gives you grounding. Like when you go home after the craziness of you interviewed Ja Rule the other day. Like these moments of like, oh, yeah, what's going on?
Oh, it's like I have whiplash from my days sometimes.
Yeah.
But yes, my family keeps me grounded. I have my 1-year-old twin girls, my 3-year-old son that I'm literally always running around, and then my husband who works just as hard as I do. But our jobs are so different, but like together, I feel like we're a really nice balance.
I think seeing you and him together really does give that nice balance. And it shows like what love is about, allowing each other to have a shine moment. And I really see that in him. And I think that's such a beautiful, the first episode of this show was with Gertie and her husband, Russell, the way he supports her. And I'm like, hook me up, get me a man. Like, I think it's beautiful to watch somebody allow the one they love to shine and to arrive in that moment in life and be like, yay.
Yeah.
That's my person.
Absolutely. I mean, we've kind of grown with each other. We've been together 10 years, married 6 this year.
Wow.
So
let's give it up. 'Cause
yeah.
that's in its own. Wow.
It's crazy. And I'm 32. We met when we were 22.
She's a baby.
So like we have went through that stages of like having nothing and then like establishing ourselves, our careers, our families. And it's been a beautiful support system.
How important is where you grew up? You're from Long Island originally, correct?
Yes.
So how important is that, the way you grew up there? How is that translated? Because we are in Miami, and I feel like Miami is very transient, very fast. I view Miami, it has a communal feel to it. So it is community, but I choose to stay out of that, the dark side over there. You know what I mean? There's a side to it. When you think about Miami, how have you applied where you came from to find your balance in this? It's almost a juggling game sometimes.
I think that's a great question. Growing up on Long Island, I was literally just a train ride away from New York City.
Yeah.
So I'm right there. And I feel like New Yorkers, like, we want to get it done. Like, in a New York minute, literally, I take that term with me. I am efficient. I try to get things done as quickly as I can because I know that time is money at the end of the day. So I take that efficiency with me to Miami and apply it to the situation because Miamians relate.
She said what?
They are late.
I agree. I think I had the same experience. I left Australia at 19 and I moved to New York City. So I'm an honorary New Yorker. I was there for over 14 years. I think there's a specific bloodstream inside of a New Yorker that is like, they can be like, you got the kindness factor, but a New Yorker could be like, kapow. Like
I'm to the point, but in the nicest way.
We'll
Don't
see.
you think
We'll
that?
see. I don't know. You are direct. You are direct, but you deliver it in a way that is palatable. And I think you're in a business where you have to do it in that way.
Yeah.
Now, how you are at home, honey, let's call the husband up. Let's have a chat, honey.
No.
Let's have a chat. No, but in all seriousness, I do think I see a grounding in you that I don't see in a lot of people. Because it is, even on television, the world of television, I want to get into it because a lot of people might not understand. There's so much that you do. We see you on the television. You pop up, you're hosting, you're looking amazing. What's the process in the lead up to that? Because you're booking stories, you're dealing with PR, you're dealing with all of that.
Yes.
How is that, like, how do you compartmentalize that and then get on camera and be like, okay, here we go?
Oh my gosh, it's a rush. Like, every day is a mission. I get a fabulous story and like it's my job to work with the producers.
And we hound her. We're like, yo, are you there? Hello?
And they are great ideas. But yes, it's a lot going into everything because I need to be an expert for you. Like if you were coming on my show, I need to know everything about you and everything that we're pitching that day and telling the viewers. Yeah. And then I have 3 other guests that I'm doing the same thing with the exact same day. And then I have an email that is just growing. It's a laundry list at this point.
I mean, it is, but I feel like, do you thrive on being a storyteller? Because yes. I feel like I see so much ahead for you, but I love to see you tell a story. I love to see you connect with the audience. What's your favorite part about doing that? Whether it be talking, and I've seen you've interviewed ballet artists, you've interviewed music, like there's, Jessica Alba, like from a list down to like local community people. But I feel like a true storyteller like really amplifies even somebody that nobody knows about. So I'm like watching you. What's your favorite part about, I guess, the gig of being a storyteller?
My favorite part about being a storyteller, and this probably is not the answer that you're expecting, is when somebody I'm interviewing says, "That's it, we're done." Like that was the moment. I'm like,
except when I said, I was like, "Can I get an extra minute?" I was like, "Girl, you're cutting into my time."
But no, not that. It's like the conversation that we had was so easy.
Yeah.
They didn't even realize that we got everything we needed.
And it's live. You just aired.
Yes. And like, as someone who interviews other people, the best compliment that I could get is like that I'm easy to talk to. And that was
100%.
so much easier than they thought it was going to be.
100%.
So that's my favorite part about storytelling beyond listening to the story, is being able to put people at ease.
Well said. And I think there's a skill set to be able to do that too, because it's like, we're old hats at this now. We've been around the block a few times, but I do love, even when I come to visit you, sitting there and seeing, some of the people you meet in the green room, and they're like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. And I'm like, you're going to be great. You're going to be great. Trust me, Kristin's a pro. And I do, now that it resonates with me, it always is. Oh, that's it? We're done?
Yeah.
Because you are so focused in on who they are as a human being that it just goes. And I think there's an art to that. Is this art of storytelling, being on TV, kind of being the front woman for a show about South Florida, is that something you ever imagined at this point you would be doing? Like, is this
something that I always hoped to do?
Okay, see, no.
Yeah.
Own that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Something that I always like hoped and dreamed of doing. Did I hope when I was younger? When I was younger, it would have came sooner. Yeah, absolutely. But also where I am today, I am one of the youngest people on TV in our market.
Correct.
That is the sole host of a show. So I feel pretty good about where I am.
I think also, and I want to touch on like that, there's so much responsibility, and somebody watches you and was like, wow, like that's fast. What's the process like working with the teams that you have there? Because I feel like there's a lot of camaraderie between everybody there, and it's very rare. I see like Miami is just, I love everybody there, but I feel like there's a, whether it's friendship or whether it's just this supporting nature where we can like, hey, you spin off each other and everybody, it's always feels uplifting. I'm sure there's tough days because it's news and things happen and what have you. But what's that vibe in like being in that newsroom? Because it's a real, when you watch television and you walk in, I was like, that's a real newsroom.
It's a real newsroom. I think that there's a fine line between business and pleasure. And like at the end of the day, we all are very professional in the work office.
Yes.
And we can have fun conversation outside of it. But, we're there to do a job. And that's the best way that I'm going to put that.
I love that. I actually like there's a fine line between business and pleasure.
Yes.
There's an uplifting feel, and I love that. I think that's a great connecting piece in life, I think. Like, let's all work together to further each other, because I feel like when you surround yourself with the right people, that naturally just happens.
Yes.
But work is work. Fun is fun. Being a mom, being a wife, you have responsibilities that extend over and above.
Yeah.
How do you, and I always say this, my take on balance, it doesn't exist. I jump in and I call it get in the craziness pot and like work it out.
But you do it all.
I try to.
Yes, you do.
I try to. You don't see, I go home, shut the doors, and I'm like, "Argh."
Yeah.
But I'm sure we all have that moment where you have to be honest with yourself and release and allow that to be like, all right, maybe I can't do it all, or maybe not right now.
Yeah.
How do you find maybe the flow? The balance, I'm like, unless you believe in balance, what's your take on like, because you have a lot of hats and children, which I think is,
I have a lot of children.
I love South Florida Live, but I think that would be your up the top of what you do.
My kids are my number one.
Correct.
They are. And I'm home.
Husband number two?
Yeah. Husband
Sorry,
number two.
buddy. As it should be. As it should be.
That's an interesting question, because some people ask, if you have like a foundation in your marriage, you need that strong foundation, and then your kids come. So it's right there. They're both
It's balanced.
right there.
Maybe what works for you obviously doesn't work for everybody else.
Yeah.
But I just know your kids, and I'm like obsessed. Seriously. Look at her and look at them. We'll split something in.
Thank you. But yeah, it's balancing it all. I don't know. Do I believe in balance? Yes and no, because like every day's different. Like I had a shoot right before this. I wasn't planning on doing that, but I'm gonna balance it, and I'm gonna do it all. Like I said I was gonna do it, and I am gonna do it. I'm not gonna cancel on you. So I don't know. Go with the flow of life. Like
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think balance is like a moment in time where you're like, all right, you can write something on a piece of paper and say this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then the world just shifts, and you're like, okay, well, this is this, and it just works. And I feel like you're in a flow now of, And I feel like I can see you're very humble, number one. I'll give you, you're
Thank
very
you.
humble because I'm like, girl, like, let me just get you together, honey. So we have some exciting things that we're going to be doing. Some exciting things, which will come to fruition and people will see. What is on your list of like, what would you like to do with this career? Where would you like to go?
That is a great question.
I know that's a loaded one. That's a big one.
Loaded question.
But in your perfect world, or is family will always be your basis, I feel.
Yes and no. Listen, I'm a young mom. I have my kids. I have my husband. I did all of that young.
She's like, tick, 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 we're
Yes,
done.
I checked that off, and I was growing my career while I was doing that, which was like a great feat. But now, like as my kids are,
I got to give you that because you didn't stop.
No.
Right until you popped.
I literally worked 38 and a half weeks pregnant with twins, and people are like, how are you standing?
We're going to get into that fashion, honey, after that, but yeah.
Yeah. But, after this, like, I want to be on network. I want to be, like, on a major TV station. If you're in California or you're in Alaska, I want you to stream in, or New York, and to be able to watch me. So where that is next, I don't know. Social media is so important in connecting people. Right. And like, I hope to continue to grow that presence, and not like as a TV person, but like as like a working mom, like someone who like worked their butt off. I wasn't handed any of this stuff. I didn't stop, and like someone that can inspire other people, men and women, to do what they want to do.
Very well said. You brought up a really interesting point because you have a huge platform. When they click the button to watch the television, when they turn that off, you lose that connection. What I feel you also bring to the table is, and we love it or hate it, this social media game. But the community that you've built there is almost like its own pulsating situation. And it's like you're authentically yourself on there. Your kids are there, your favorite foods, the fashion, your life.
Yeah.
How important is that in taking you to perhaps where you want to go? And utilizing that because you have a community there of people that maybe not watching you on the television show or caught you a couple of times, and now you grab them.
Yeah.
So it's like you're creating your own pulsating situation. What does that feel like to be able to speak directly to somebody like that?
It feels important. And I have to say, like, I second guess myself sometimes on there because I'm like, what should I put on here and what shouldn't I put on here?
Yeah.
Because people have like a lot of opinions, and as I'm getting over the fact of caring not so much about that, it's questionable, but it's nice to have an audience that resonates with what I'm wearing that day, or like who I am going to have on the show, or like that my girls just turned one, or,
It's this dichotomy of like the fabulousness of television, and then the reality of like how beautiful it is to be a mother, to be a wife, to be raising 1-year-old, like to actually have that. Yeah. I think there's a legacy that I see forming for you. And, I do see you on a panel show somewhere, honey.
Oh, thank you.
I see something, no, I always say dream big. I definitely see, and since I met you, I was like, damn, I feel like it's gone like that.
Well, yeah, so you and I have always met at like the right moment.
I think we met at the right moments.
Yeah.
And it's like, once we finally like linked, I was like, okay, she's my girl now.
Yes. Yeah. And we just get it. And also being successful requires people who support you.
Boom.
And you are one of those.
I thank you for that, and vice versa. I do believe that nothing is without the people behind you, beside you in the dark sometimes that don't get seen. And it's beautiful to hear you say that. And I think that's a testament to who you are as a human being, that it's important to acknowledge those that are near you, those that are rooting for you, even if they can't give you something, even those that like are in your corner, or the people that follow you on Instagram. Mm-hmm. They're your team. And they'll follow you wherever you go, whatever this journey looks like.
Yes.
And I think that's, I think you're really capturing something. And you have a great platform to do it. And this is the beginning of 2025. So maybe, we'll see what happens.
Sky is the limit.
It always is.
Big things, dream big, work hard. You can do anything that you put your mind to. And like, that is the biggest thing. And something that like, for people listening who like have big dreams, but like they also want a family, the worst thing I can hear is when someone's like, oh, I'm not ready to have a family because I'm not where I want to be in my career yet. Like, if you want to do that, make it happen. You are the only person stopping you.
Pretty well said, because it's true. And I do hear that from a lot of my female friends, that they want the family, but they're also scared if they step away from that for a hot second. But you're the case study that it can be. Listen, you're one of. It can be done. And I think you also touched on, I think it's super important, it cannot be done without hard work.
It can't be.
And anyone that says that there's divine timing, a little bit of luck, a little bit of this, maybe the right place, right time scenario, but if you don't come at it with everything you got sometimes, I feel like it's not going to connect. All of those right moments, and I think you said it, and I do see you. You're definitely, your work ethic is second to none.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
That's why you consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, girl, I remember being there. I was like, this girl's about to pop on the set.
Oh my gosh!
But she looked. We're gonna get to it now. But you look damn good. So let's get into how important as a storyteller, the way you look and the way the beauty is one thing, but the way you put something together starts with, it makes you feel good. So let's talk about fashion and what it is about it that you can use as the expression tool. So what really, because I know you love a good moment, and it's not always expensive designers. It's the highs, lows, and what have you. What is it about that part that is exciting? Look at the eyes. She's like, yes, I love.
Like, you want to talk about fashion?
I do. I want to get into it. Right on time, honey.
My wardrobe is just exploding. Like, I love it. If I see it, I just want to like buy it all.
Me too. Or get it gifted or collaboration.
Yes. Whichever way I can get it, I'll take it. But I love it. And you are right. If you feel good in your clothes, people, they love that. Like when I was with Ja Rule on Friday, I like loved my outfit, and he's like, I love your scarf. Like people will notice if you feel good and you look good. You have to just like rock it.
I 100% feel like when you walk into a room, and it's not always about this avant-garde over the top. I think people think like, oh, the fashion, you want to be noticed. Sometimes it can be the most simplistic moment, or a garment or a piece or an accessory, that because it just blends with who you are, that you kind of radiate right out. And it's like every time I'm home or I'm not going somewhere, I'm like, all right, 12:30, she's on, let me see it. You're like, bam, bitch, I'm here. Hello, what's up? But the joy, and I can see, and it's like the get ready with me's and this. I really think it's such a fun component to be able to doing that. You know what I mean?
I gotta do more of that.
You really should. I'm telling you, you need to do the transition between getting ready and transition it on the set.
I love it.
I'll be there. Don't worry.
Yes, that hand in hand.
But I feel the fashion component, what do you feel like the connective with that? Because the people watching, sometimes people are scared of, when you hear the word fashion, I think people naturally go to like, ooh, that's like, I'm this level or I'm this level. And I feel like fashion is for everybody. What you're wearing, what I'm wearing, this is off Amazon.
And it looks fabulous.
It's how you wear. It's hot as hell. Come on now. But I had to serve a look for you, darling.
Oh, and you showed up. You always do. But it's important to, like, beyond the designers and things like that, I just feel like it's like you have to love what you're wearing and, like, feel good in it. Like, and how you wear it. Because, like, even right now, I'm like, okay, let me, like, put my shoulders back a little bit. Let me sit up straight. Like, let me...
It's working.
Show off what I'm wearing.
Yes.
So it, like, kind of just, like, changes your whole mood. And it is... Yeah, it's how you feel that day. Like, I'm coming here today and I felt like, oh, you know what? I'm like a little bit more business, but I'm fun on the toes.
See?
And yeah.
I think you make a really lovely point, that it starts with yourself. Like, not every day in this world is going to be the best day. So how do you then, because I think that's the reality. I think people would look at you and you're bubbly and you're bright and amazing. But I'm like, you're also like balancing so much. Some days will be better than others, I'm assuming.
1,000%.
But when you put a kick-ass look on, but does that not, there's something about fashion, and I really believe it. Like, it gives me the tingles. If I'm not feeling great, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go plan my outfits for the entire week.
Yes.
And it brings me, maybe it's just like a spot. I do feel it brings me this contentment and this happiness of like, I really love this. And it's not expensive stuff.
No.
I'm putting looks together with a piece that may be like my grand finale, but I just like, because you and I, you do it every day. And I'm, traveling the country working on fashion. it does have this thing where I can mentally just change, and I'm like, oh, it's a nice little lift sometimes. Because when you said it, when you look good, you feel good, and I'm like, that's what I want to impart on people. Life is not easy sometimes. Trying to manage multiple things coming at you, sometimes it is fun to just, and maybe it's not the fashion side of things. So being fashionably late is like maybe whatever you look at in life. Maybe it's beauty. Maybe it's do something for yourself.
Yeah.
For me, it's the fashion. I feel so much better with a great Chelsea boot with a heel. And somebody told me that's got a heel on it and he's off there. Listen.
Yes.
I love myself a good pump, honey.
But you know what, too, about you is like you got to do what you want to do. Like, not because like that's what everybody else is wearing, I'm going to wear that too. Like, you're going to rock that because you love that.
Yeah.
And like, that's awesome. It makes you fashionable by not following the crowds.
I would love to follow some trends, but I can't afford it. So and that's the reality. Like, there's certain things I look at, I was like, damn, I would love that. And then it's like, but then it goes away. So it's like this
Fast
whole
fashion,
thing of, this trend and this push for validation. What would be your advice to be? Because, I think your market, when you're looking at young girls that might be looking at you and being like, what would you tell them to maybe get on the path of finding oneself and love? I know it's a deep one, but I was like, I do believe by default, there are people that watch you that are like, I look up to her. Whether you know it or not, you're the big sister that you've never met. You're the sis, you know what I mean? What does that feel like to kind of have that influence, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, I would just tell people like, if you're just going about like on the fashion route of things and you want to feel good, there's nothing better than just doing your hair, putting on some makeup, and going into your closet and just picking out a structured outfit and something that like you love, and then you'll feel good in it. Like, it doesn't matter what your friend's wearing or what your sister's wearing or what your husband's wearing. Like, wear what you want to wear because you want to wear it. Don't follow the crowd.
That's a good point. And I want to bring up, because I think a lot of people, fast fashion, fast fame. There's a lot, and I love the Kardashians. I love watching them. Do you feel, you have children, when they're at an age where it's like they're consuming all of this pop culture, how do you navigate being like, oh my God, I feel like everybody's talking about that. Maybe I got to get in line with that. How do you break away from that? And as maybe a mother, how would you tell your kids, like, be you? Like, what is that connection for you? Because it's like, it's kind of tough. Even I sit there and I'm like, oh, I want to be that, or that's that. Like,
yeah. No, I mean, I just had that conversation with my son, who's only 3, by the way. And
very handsome little young chap. I was like,
thank you.
Yeah.
But even him, he's like, I want those shoes because so-and-so has those shoes. And I'm just like, you had cool shoes, and just think that you have cool shoes, but it's a struggle. I don't want to say that I have the right answer, because I'm learning as a parent every single day, but I just want to instill in my kids that like who you are is absolutely where you need to be, what you need to have. Who cares what somebody else is wearing or driving or going? Like, you have the best life that like your mommy and daddy are trying to give you, and I want you to appreciate that. I
think that's great advice for anybody. Like, I think we are enough.
Yeah.
Where we're at is enough. Wanting more is not a bad thing, but for the right reasons. Because I feel like sometimes in this world we get, even myself, sometimes I'm like, oh, they did that or they have that. And I'm like, well, I should have done that before. And I was like, no. That's what I wanted this show to be about. Like, it's that play on words of like fashion and being fashionably late, but also like the divine timing of life. And like, as I get older, less looking back and being like, oh, I want that. More being like, you can still have that, but it's like, what's your goal? So I really feel, to kind of round it out, what makes you happy? What makes you happy in this very moment in life, where you're at in life? What brings you the most joy?
Well, my kids bring me the most joy. That's for sure. A lot of things bring me the most joy, honestly. Like, my kids bring me so much joy. My husband does. My mom, who like helps me out every single day. My sister that lives up the street. My dad. I mean, I'm so appreciative of like my family aspect, but like actually my career too, of course. Like, it makes me happy to go to the studio every day. It makes me happy to like book big interviews. Yeah. And I appreciate it. So like moving forward, and for all those who are like listening to like moving forward, I think like the moral of the story is like being confident in you, believing in you. Stop looking at other people. Work hard, wake up early, go to sleep early, like wake up with those big dreams and ambitions, and like don't give up on them.
Sister said it so well. A last question I have. What is fashionably late? How many minutes are we looking at to be fashionably late? When does it turn into like, did you hear? Who does she think she is? What is too much? If the invite says 7:00.
Okay.
Cocktails start at 7:30.
Okay.
There's no red carpet though.
All right. How late can you be?
Yeah, how late can you be?
Okay, you can show up at like 7:45. You can be 15 minutes late.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like 15 minutes is like a good grace period. If you're an hour late, that's straight up rude.
Then, I agree.
You are rude.
They're like, there's that Kristen Sanchez.
Yeah. Unless you have like a fabulous excuse, like my kid was just throwing up or something like that.
Okay, see, this is real. This is real. And I'm sure that's happened to you before. I'm sure that's life, right?
1,000%. Yes. Oh my gosh. Like okay, that's a really good excuse, but call me, let me know.
Ladies and gentlemen,
please.
Fashionably Late is what it's all about. Make sure you turn up in style, main character energy, and give someone a call if you're going to be later than 15 minutes, because I definitely agree.
For the love of God, please. Like, let me know.
My love, thank you so much for coming.
Yes, thank you.
I'll see you soon.
I'll see you really soon.